The video you're about to see on screen is actually a couple of different attempts at me trying to communicate a cogent thought about what I think the issue is in entertainment nowadays. And while you might hear some things repeated, I do think there is some good stuff throughout. So I just went ahead and spliced it all together and edited out all of the silent moments where I'm trying to gather my thoughts. So anyway, here you go. Enjoy. On Father's Day weekend, my mother and I took my dad to see Top Gun Maverick. Now, I had already seen Top Gun Maverick, and I knew it was a great film, and I knew that my dad, being of a similar mindset as myself, would enjoy a breath of fresh air when it comes to entertainment. Because as you and I well know, modern entertainment is full of messaging, things that the writers and directors and all the showrunners of these entertainment industries are trying to tell you. They're trying to teach you in the subtext of what it is that they're creating. Well, Top Gun Maverick is bereft of all of that messaging. Top Gun Maverick doesn't try to be anything that it's not. What it is an action movie. That's all it is. Simple, not groundbreaking at all. And that's why it's so fantastic. And I knew that my dad would like that. And I got to thinking, why is this not the industry standard? The industry standard today has got something to tell you in the subtext, as I said before. They've got a message about, they have intersectional themes, oppression, victimization, tokenization, representation, all of the Asians. And that doesn't identify with a majority of audiences. It doesn't matter what audience it is, really. Because if you're preaching to the choir, there's just one subset of an entire audience. Films like Top Gun Maverick, they speak to everyone. My mom even liked it. And she's not one for action movies. But what it is the hero of the story, Maverick, was always this great pilot. Not infallible, but great. He's not brought in and then shown up by all the younglings in the film, thereby showing him that he was never that great to begin with, and perhaps he has something to learn from this generation. Maverick is the greatest, and he always will be the greatest. And that is refreshing. And I'll tell you why. It's because as an audience, if you're watching something like that, it gives you something to aspire to. A hero, so to speak. Now, there are multiple situations which aren't similar to this. Of course, there is this trope in entertainment now where the hero, or more likely heroine of the story, as of late, has always been great. They didn't earn their power. They didn't earn their victory. And albeit, Maverick, in this case, is similar. He is similar. But he isn't made to look superior overall above everyone else, because everyone else in the movie has something to teach him. In fact, this is sort of a spoiler, but Rooster in the movie basically helps Maverick overcome personal issues which are holding him back. Maverick is a detriment to himself, and he has to rely on another character to help him overcome this obstacle so that he can continue to be the best. And I know I use this example all the time, but other stories such as The Lord of the Rings, which if you haven't figured out already, it's one of my favorite stories ever told. It's all about a simple, ordinary person coming upon something by happenstance and rising to the occasion, becoming the hero. And there's always somebody that these people need to lean on. Frodo's always got Sam. But again, that just it gives audience something to strive to be. It gives them something to aspire to. It gives them something to respect. Modern day heroes in stories, especially ones in the current iterations of any Marvel properties or Star Wars properties, none of them have any need of redemption. None of them have any need to learn anything because they were always great, especially when the hero is female. Now, when the hero is male, especially in the instances of, uh, say, like Han Solo's character in the new Star Wars trilogy. I say new, it's several years old at this point, but still. Han Solo is just, he's a shell of his former self. What that communicates, in my opinion, what that communicates is that these people don't have to learn, or they don't learn. And that innately their character is just overall flawed. And there's nothing wrong with flaws, but if you don't learn from your mistakes, or if you don't learn from the people around you, what's the point of having the story told in the first place? Nobody's entertained by people who don't learn a lesson, unless it's a comedy, such as It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. The only reason that show is so funny, well, not the only reason, but one of the reasons why that show is so funny is that they get into all of these situations and they never learn. But that's why it's a comedy. If It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia was trying to tell a story, it wouldn't resonate. Because character evolution doesn't occur. And I think, in essence, I've been thinking about it, and I think that what makes a good story is character evolution. The characters have to learn from their experiences. Maverick learns from one of his students. He evolves thanks to one of his students. Frodo and Sam evolve by overcoming and sacrificing through their trials and tribulations, as well as the rest of the characters in Lord of the Rings. Gandalf literally evolves by dying. And in the end, when the hobbits come back to the Shire is not big enough for Frodo. He's evolved so much, he's carried such a heavy burden, and comes back to a simple life, and he realizes that it's not for him anymore. He's seen too much. He's been scarred too much. His character has been not corrupted, but compromised in such a way. It's similar to when soldiers come home from foreign wars and they have variations of PTSD. And that's what makes a good story, because people can identify with that. What's the point of telling a story if a character has no tribulations from which they learn, from which they grow, from which they evolve? Because our innate desire as humans, at least from my perspective, is to continually move forward and being constantly told that you're good enough, you're beautiful the way you are. It lends to a sort of narcissism that tells people there's no need for me to change. Why would I want to improve on a perfect being already? I'm the way that I was created for a reason. And then seeing someone in better circumstances invokes a jealousy and envy and a rage that is wholly outward facing. And there's no such thing as introspection in these people. And modern entertainment caters to that. It's always somebody else's fault. You are never the root of your own issues. I'm just a victim of circumstance. In reality, the victim of circumstance mentality leads to a very sad and unfulfilling life. If you're not achieving something, then what are you doing? The entertainment industry today is morally and creatively bankrupt. It is creatively bankrupt in that it wants to take other things which you already love, you already know, take them, repurpose them, reboot them, because it guarantees asses and seats. And it's morally bankrupt because it wants to use those properties which you already know and love and which formed your childhood and take them and twist them to tell you are a victim of forces outside of your control. And now, what we have here is a generation, the product of which is a narcissism, at least the vocal portion of this generation. They are vocal proponents of self-serving ideals, self-serving ideologies. They take things such as, well, I don't want to get too political, but mindless self-indulgence, body positivity, magazine covers which portray obese women as healthy. Well, first of all, I'm not really sure where the magazine covers with obese men saying it's healthy are. But regardless, telling you things which you know inherently is not true is true. It's one societal gaslight. Saying that you don't need to improve yourself. You are perfect. In essence, what it's telling you is you need to remain weak. And today's entertainment industry is emblematic of that. You see, heroes don't become anymore. Heroes just are. And they are your betters. They are the authority, and you must rely on them. You see, Frodo never thought that. Or at least, if he did, he eventually came to realize that some things need people to rise to the occasion. Now, what people are told is people can't change. So rely on your betters to take care of any issues that you have for you. And that, in essence, all that does is it just removes personal responsibility. People don't want to take responsibility for their actions. And meanwhile, they can do no wrong. This is why we see things such as body positivity. We see things such as men who've been men for 18 years all of a sudden deciding to switch teams and then becoming a woman and beating all of those women. We see things such as human beings are only human beings once they pass through the birth canal. Personal responsibility is a foreign concept at this point. People don't know the meaning of it. How many people do you think walk down the street and know how to change a damn tire? How many people do you think know how to defend themselves? Reliance on other people is how anyone gets by. People nowadays are too afraid to challenge, too risk averse. And at times I consider myself in that category. And that's why they like to create superheroes which are infallible. Not just superheroes, but people in general. Characters and stories which are infallible and can do no wrong. Because people like to see themselves as that. They like to see themselves as infallible, yet victims of forces beyond their control. Originally, that's one reason why I didn't really like Superman as much. I saw him as too powerful, invulnerable, faster than a speeding bullet, bulletproof, stronger than any being could possibly ever hope to be, able to fly around the world in reverse time. But then I got to thinking, there is something about Superman which is laudable. And that's his ideals. Truth, justice, and the American way. And you can see that people have subverted that now. For the sake of representation. For the sake of a victimized group. For the sake of a group taking something which stood for virtue and co-opting it to suit their own purposes and narratives. Which is why, and you can look this up, Superman is now bisexual. And that makes him more heroic than he could have ever been. Spider-Man's now gay! Look it up! So basically what I think I'm getting at here is that modern day stories require modern day sensibilities. And modern day sensibilities tell us that representation is more important than aspiration. Showing someone who lives under the circumstances of any marginalized group's victimhood think is much more important than showing someone who aspires to be something greater than themselves, aspires to an ideal, aspires to improve themselves. Because God knows we don't want to change. We don't want to put the effort forth to change. We just want to see somebody who's perfect, but also suffers from the same plights that we do. And I'll reiterate, that's one of the reasons why I like Top Gun Maverick so much, is that he is a hero. He has the best intentions at heart. He's not infallible. He does have obstacles to overcome. And in ways, he can get better. But he doesn't play victim. He accepts responsibilities for the actions that he's taken against other people that he feels guilt for. In fact, he takes responsibility for circumstances that were beyond his control and feels guilt for that. And that is a real human emotion. Feeling guilt for something that was beyond your control. Not narcissism and victimhood without the desire to overcome it. Victims today, they think that better men, or more likely, better they-thems, will come along and raise everyone up out of the muck. Well, you can't do that. What they don't realize is the only thing you can do to make everyone equal is cut everyone who's higher than you off at the knees and bring them down to your level. Why do you think in today's societal sense the patriarchy is such a big deal? And now white men are the perpetrators of all wrongdoings in history. I could go into that forever, but suffice it to say, it's all a matter of bringing your oppressors down to your level as opposed to bringing yourself and bringing all of those around you up. Raising people up. And not artificially, through pride. As you grow older, you realize that there is some wisdom in biblical stories, and particularly what I'm talking about here is the 7 deadly sins, and namely pride. And that is the problem with today's society, is that people feel too much pride in where they currently stand and see no room for improvement. Which is why, again, people need to see boastful and prideful heroes on screen. And we are lucky when we get pieces of entertainment which actually demonstrate fallible characters. Characters which must overcome, characters which must adapt, characters which must learn. It's a real treat, and it's a real breath of fresh air. Well, there you go. If you like that, don't forget to subscribe and comment to let me know, because that really lets me know that you guys like what I'm doing. So, as of late, I've been trying to figure out different things to talk about, and been having some trouble. A lot of this stuff that's going on in the world now, makes it difficult to talk about sometimes. But anyway, if you guys want more of this, don't forget to let me know. Thanks for watching. Have yourselves a good day, and don't forget to pick up something heavy. Peace.